gone into markets where you can imagine. Arsenal was in Singapore, I think maybe video was there. There were 60,000 Arsenal fans in the stadium in Singapore. I don't know where they came from, but there are 60,000 Arsenal fans at the stadium. So it is all these closet fans, I call them. But even for a club like Arsenal, they have a huge following. So we've all been talking about traditional revenues, and as a man who's practicing sports marketing, I'm not worth my salt if I don't talk about non-traditional revenues. This is where I think people like us, practitioners like us, earn our money. In terms of non-traditional revenues, selling solar energy sounds like a very abstract concept, but stadiums sit on huge real estate, and how can we harness the real estate that's almost sitting there and doing nothing? What do we do during the idle time? We've actually explored a few ideas with, especially in Malaysia, to see how we can actually help the football clubs harnessing the stadiums and real estate they already have, and how we can use the solar panels to then create energy to becoming eco-friendly, and how we can actually sell that energy back to the government, so that the football clubs who operate in those stadiums have another revenue stream. Actively pursued by my agency. We're going to trial with 1 or 2 clubs in Malaysia. Hopefully that becomes a success and we can roll it out and become eco-friendly in that sense. Virtual clubhouse. Today the player or athlete or star has the ability to interact directly. The most followed person on Facebook today is Cristiano Ronaldo with 50 million followers. So imagine if Cristiano Ronaldo had a virtual clubhouse where he put all his merchandise. He's quite smart. He's actually gone into selling his own merchandise and creating shirts and stuff like that. Through a virtual clubhouse, now you can monetize your digital traffic. So just look at the Malaysian context. A club like, say, Perak, who's got 300,000 followers on Facebook, if I'm not wrong, memory serves me right. How do they then convert that into sales? How do they convert them into revenues? So through a virtual clubhouse, again, we are working with a technology partner in the space to see how we can monetize digital traffic through clubs. So this is another non-traditional revenue that we can bring to football leagues and clubs. Virtual reality seats. I think this is another very abstract. I don't know how many of you actually know virtual reality now. Facebook bought a company called Oculus for $1 billion, and we also been very active in this space where the inventory in a stadium is fixed. If you can sell 50,000 seats or 60,000 seats, it's fixed. You can't sell anymore. But with virtual reality, we can transport you into the stadium at the comfort of your house. Imagine waking up 3 o'clock in the morning to watch El Clasico in your bedroom, wearing a virtual reality set. So you can actually choose if you want to sit in the presidential suite, you want to sit on the pitch side, if you want to sit with the fans. So the whole experience then now evolves. And even in the virtual setting, now we can put advertising. We can have a car that's parked next to you. We can have a drink that comes next to you. The servers were coming to you in branded t-shirts. So the possibility with virtual reality is almost I mean, it's mind-boggling. So the things that you can actually do with virtual reality. So this will then, being more relevant to you, will create another subcategory called virtual reality rights. So as lawyers, you should be now reading up on what virtual reality rights is, how we can structure that now. So a lot of agencies now are land grabbing in the sense that how can we, including us, how we can land grab rights for virtual reality. And that's it. So that brings me to the end of my thing, and any questions, feel free to ask, and thank you once again for listening to this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sasikumar, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have about 5 minutes. I can hear your stomach growling up here. I appreciate your patience, but I think, can I request that you give the 3 of them a huge round of applause for going through the I must say that Sasi and PJ very kindly on their own expenditure flew down here. Thank you very much to support this event. When I spoke to them on the phone, I told the 2 of them that I want my friends to hear you. And when we met, we spoke to Kenny, I told Kenny that exactly what Kenny said, people don't know what association does. And Malaysia, as you know, the 2 biggest sports for us, even though the football team is not doing very well, but football is the biggest game, and the other one is badminton. There's also squash and bowling. in the other games. But these are the two biggest. We need to learn from them. Now, can I invite some questions from you? And just like the way they speak, I hope you ask also very quickly. Any questions?
Hi, I'm Pam Dillon.
Pam, hi.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce Pam? Pam's from Total Sports. Yeah, she's from another sports company, a friend of ours. All yours, Pam?
Not quite a question, but some feedback for Sashi. You had a question about where the lawyers fit in that diagram that you had, where everywhere that you had an arrow, there's a role for a lawyer there.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll get my creative team to come up with an icon that resembles a lawyer, and we fit everything. Very good suggestion. Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions? Yes, sorry.
Over here.
Yes,
Richard. All right. To the panel of our guest speakers. Hi, my name is Eddie. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a sportsman. In fact, I used to represent the country in Taekwondo, and I think I can attest to Kenny's statement that our salary was about. I retired at 500 ringgit a month. In fact, sitting right beside me is a two-time Olympian. She started her salary at 100 ringgit a month. Yeah, for 5 years, she said. So, just out of curiosity, right? I'd like to know, Sasi, when you presented the stats, the 5 top earning sports in the world. In the Malaysian context, may I just know if there's any stats on the highest earning sports currently, so that I can send my future son and daughter to the right sport?
Very good question. I think it's very well documented that the footballers in the country now earn a lot of money. We know for a fact that there's some clubs in Malaysia that players earn over $1 million ringgit a season. So if I were you, start now. And of course, let's not forget that badminton as well, Dato' Lee Chong Wei, who we also had a privilege of doing a deal with him recently for the Olympics in China. He, I think, drives around in a Lamborghini, so he must be doing really well.
I think that the challenge is that for young players now, and we've been involved in with the Asian Football Confederation around player welfare seminars around the region, is that they're very young, they can earn some good money, but it can stop tomorrow and the income stops. So the financial plan around that is a massive issue. But I think the challenge that you have in Southeast Asia, which is very different to Australia, in Australia you can have a professional sporting career and you can still study at the same time. That's pretty normal. In Southeast Asia, no, it's like it's one or the other. That's a cultural barrier that needs to be eroded massively, because you can do both, and you've got to have a plan B and you've got to have a plan C. I had to stop playing when I was 29 because of injury. I know Sasi had plenty of injuries as well. Your career can end like that. So I think that's the big challenge that young players basically have here.
So PJ's lying because I did both. I went to school and I started playing professional football.
You must be the only one over here, I think. But
I think I'm slightly a bit old-fashioned in certain ways. Yes, I agree that players must earn a lot of money. Then you can, like I mentioned earlier, you create career pathway. I really agree. In fact, in BAM, we have increased like 3-fold or 4-folds in terms of salary. Even in junior, we increased. They used to get like 50. Bukit Jalil Sports School, we used to give them some kind of a monthly allowance of 50 ringgit, but today they get like about 300 to 400 ringgit. But having said that, I said at junior level, I think if possible, we try to balance commercialization between the love and playing for the thrill of the game and also for the love of the country. So we try not to over-commercialize the junior event. We still try not to give too much prize money in our junior event. So, but I don't know in future whether this commercialization will come in fully into the junior event. I'm not sure, but at the moment, this is the balancing act that we want to do.
Thank you. What I'll do is I'm going to invite every speaker to have a last say. Then we'll call it a day. All yours, speech, anything you want to have to say. Is there a last question? Sorry. This is really last question, sorry, but I'm hungry now. Yeah,
Okay, you will be last.